There's a couple of ways that you can open AutoCAD. You can use Windows Start or use the shortcut on the desktop. I like to have it on my taskbar down at the bottom of the screen. In my case, AutoCAD opened to the Start tab. Yours might open with a drawing. It just depends on what system variables are set out of the box. If yours does not open to the Start tab, you can click on it right here underneath the ribbon. On the Start tab, you have several ways to open a drawing. To start a new drawing, notice that it has the template acad.dwt. If you don't specify a template, AutoCAD will always open using that template. Notice that Recent is highlighted. That means that in the middle, you're going to see your most recently opened drawings. Under here, there are some more options for learning, things that you can add, and even more options for getting online help or connecting with the AutoCAD community. All the way to the right is Announcements. Also, it shows if you are signed in to your Autodesk account. Notice at the top that the ribbon is grayed out. It will only be available when a drawing is open. My favorite way to open drawings is to click on the plus sign. If I right-click, then I have the option to open a new drawing, and I can specify a specific template, or I can just open a drawing. If I just click on the plus sign, it will open a drawing using the default template. The current drawing is shown here on the tab. This one happens to be Drawing 1, and this will correspond with what is at the top of the screen. See, it is drawing1.dwg. Everyone uses AutoCAD a little bit differently. There's several ways to do anything. A couple of ways that I customize my AutoCAD screen is I move the command prompt up to the top like this. I just grab the little dots and drag it. At the very top is the quick access toolbar. I'm going to click this arrow and then select Show Below the Ribbon. With these changes, I don't have to move my mouse that much to get to the command prompt or any of my tools. On the ribbon, I have several tabs at the top. Each tab has different panels associated with them. Most panels have a little arrow next to the name of the panel, and you can click on that and expand the panel for more commands or options. We normally stay on the Home tab, but you will use the Annotate tab and the View tab or the Express Tools tab. The others are usually for more advanced classes. I'll go back to the Home tab, and we will use the panels Draw, Modify, Annotate, Layers, Blocks, and Utilities. When I click on the arrow next to the Draw, I get more options or commands that I can use. Also, notice when I hover over a command, I get a tooltip, and the longer I stay hovered, it will give me more information about the tool. A lot of the icons will have arrows next to the actual command, and when I click the arrow, then I get more options for that specific command. This is called a flyout menu. Other ways that AutoCAD interfaces with us is through palettes. The Layer Properties Manager is a palette, and you can see here it has a control strip on the left side. I can click the cross to close. I have an Auto Hide tool. When I click it, it will leave me only a strip, and that way I can see the drawing that I'm working on. If I click it again, then it unhides the palette. I also have a settings tool that when I click on it, I have several options, and I'm going to make sure that this will auto hide. So I will click on that option, and when I move my cursor away from the palette, it does hide. There are several other palettes that you'll come across as we're working. We also have dialog boxes. The Create block is an example of a dialog box. Anytime that you see a button on a dialog box, it will take you to the graphics screen so that you can pick geometry. Another thing to notice about dialog boxes is anytime you see a button with these three dots and you click, it will take you to another dialog box. Let me close these, and we'll talk about some other areas of the screen. There is the Quick Access toolbar. I have it located below the ribbon. This is customizable. Normally, when you first open AutoCAD, it'll be shown above the ribbon like that, and it won't have as many tools as listed here. When you click the little arrow at the end of the Quick Access toolbar, you can customize it by unchecking or checking the commands that are listed. You also can customize it by adding more commands using this dialog box. To the right of the screen at the top, you have what's called the Info Center. You can type in any command or question in this area and it will take you to AutoCAD Help. You can sign in to use the Autodesk A360 services. You can go to the App Store, and the question mark will take you to the full AutoCAD Help section. At the bottom of the screen on the left, there are tabs. There's the Model tab, which is what's activated right now, and this is where we will draw all of our geometry or our designs. The Layout tab represents the paper that we will print our drawings on, and it has what's called a viewport on the paper. You can see how it's highlighted. The viewport shows me what is inside the Model tab. We'll learn a lot more about this later. At the bottom right of the screen is the status bar, and this contains several drawing aids or drawing tools. This is also customizable. To the far right, if you click where the three lines are, you will get several more tools that you could add to this so that we're all working from the same page. It's a good idea to go ahead and set it up with the ones that I have checked. The coordinates just show you where you are located in your drawing. The model tells you if you're in model or paper. The grid turns on and off the grid display. Snap is not used very often. You want to make sure that your dynamic input is always turned off. When it's turned off, it'll be gray like this. Next is ortho mode, and you will use this quite often. It makes your cursor only go vertical or horizontal. Polar tracking is next, and when I turn on polar tracking, notice that ortho goes off. Polar tracking can be not only horizontal and vertical, or 90 and 180 degrees, but you have options to set it so that your cursor will move only in other specific combinations of angles. The isometric drafting tool is for 3D drafting. Object snap tracking is something that we will learn to use as we become more advanced. O-snaps are a very important tool in AutoCAD, and allows us to pick specific points on our geometry. When I click the arrow next to the O-snap tool, I can see a list of these types of points. It's important to make sure that you don't have too many checked, or you won't be able to pick the one that you need. This is what you should have checked, and I believe that out of the box it will have endpoint, midpoint, center, and intersection checked. I've added perpendicular also. The next tool is section cycling, and this would allow us to pick specific items if we have one over top of another one. The next 3 or 4 items we will not be using. This one that I'm hovering on is the workspace, and I'm going to click the arrow next to it. You shouldn't have to use this one, but I did want to point out that we are in the drafting and annotation workspace. The other 2 types of workspace, 3D Basics and 3D Modeling, will have a completely different ribbon. So if your ribbon looks funny, that's a place to check to make sure that you are using drafting and annotation. Then we have our units. This is just for informational purposes. It will not be where you can actually set the properties of the units. You have quick properties, which comes in very handy. Isolate objects. If your drawing is really crowded, you might want to use that one. And then there is the clean screen. When I click on it, you can see that my ribbon disappears and I only have my quick access toolbar available. This would give me a bigger drawing area. When I click on the clean screen button again, it brings back my ribbon. Quite a few of the drafting tools correspond to your function keys, such as the grid mode corresponds to F7. Dynamic is F12, although that's not shown on the description. Ortho is F8, and these are all available for use on your keyboard function keys. One more interface tool that we need to look at is the Application Options menu. If you click on the red A at the top, you will see this menu. Here you can start a new drawing, open an existing drawing, save. Notice that it has a list of recent documents. Save as. I can import files, a PDF, DGN, and other formats. I can export into several formats, DWF, DWFX, a 3D, DWF, a PDF, a DGN, and some other formats. Let's take a look at those. Here, if I click where it says Files of Type, it shows me all of the types I can save it as. Here's one that if you want to do some 3D printing, you'll want to save it as this file type, a .stl. And then the .sat file types are very easy to work with in Inventor. Cancel that, and let's look at the rest of the Application Options menu. You can publish, print, and you have drawing utilities. Here you can set your units. I usually type in UN and enter to set my units and their properties. And then you can close AutoCAD. There's also options. We're not going to change many of these, but I do want to show you a few. First of all, the Display tab. You can change your colors if you want a white background. Some people find that easier to draw on. And also you can change your color theme from dark to light. On the User Preference tab, you have your right-click customizations. I have set this up so that I'm comfortable with the way that my right-click works. When no objects are selected, right-click means repeat last command. If one or more objects are selected, right-click will open the shortcut menu. And if there's a command in progress, then right-click will mean enter. If some of the ways that I use right-click are different from what happens when you right-click, this is the reason why. And you can set these to any way that you want. That's all we're going to look at.